Okay, I am back. So, when I last left you guys, I was just putting that experimental bead that I had made in the oven. And I said I'd be back in a couple minutes because I was just going to do a few. But then I ended up spending like the whole rest of the day making some different examples to show you guys how they come out. And so these were super cool. So this one is the one that I did the demo of yesterday. And so you can see those opal sparkles and the different color. This is the one that I mixed the purple into. So there's like some pink and some dark parts. And you can see where it's kind of like see-through. If you can see it in the light. The snag that I had was, this is the back. And this actually was super sad because this happened to all of the beads that I did. So I'll just show you a couple, and you can see those black specks. Those are the sand. And I did some orange ones, which kind of looks like a jelly Cheerio. But you can see that the back is burnt. And this one's not so bad. It was a nice like blue and orange. Kind of looks like an agate, which is just a kind of stone you guys have probably seen before. Some more of the opal. I did a whole bunch. I have like 20 little beads in here. And they were super fun to make. And actually, like, look at my hands. They're not super dirty or anything. It got stuck on my nail polish, which was interesting. But it washed right out. So it really wasn't so bad just using my hands without gloves. And the only thing about having it on your hands while you're working is that if you want, say, just like a purple color, but you just made a bead with the yellow, you're probably going to get some yellow in your purple bead unless you wash your hands between different colors. But if you're only making like the yellow beads or only making purple beads so they can match for like a bracelet or a necklace or earrings or a keychain, then you're probably fine. But if you're switching colors, you might want to wash your hands because they get a little muddy. And the best part is seeing that translucent or seeing through the bead. So, yeah, we want to preserve that. This one's a cool one. It came with green. And you put the opal in it. And some of these I did put that weird, this one you can kind of tell. This one's really burnt. I don't know if you can see on the side that moss over there that I tried to save. But I love how all of these came out. So the thinner that your bead is, the easier it is going to be for you to poke a hole through it to make the bead. I ended up using the knitting needle, which is something that I recommended at the beginning of the video before. So I just, when it was soft, I just went right through, rolled it around, put it to the other side, rolled it around, and it went really slow because if you remember, I mentioned that the transparent or see-through clay works a little bit differently than the regular sculpey clay, so it's a little bit more crumbly. So you do have to work it more so it's softer. So you really want to get the heat from your hands in there, so rolling it really works. And then when you poke a hole through, you want to go just slowly so that it doesn't break, because that was a lot more common than other sculpey that I've worked with. And so with that reminder, I also wanted to give you guys a tip about baking. So this is the pan that I had used. It's just like a normal sheet pan. I put the beads right on there because I didn't have any aluminum foil. I left it actually at the shop the other day. And then I did some reading because I was very sad that all of my beads got burnt at the bottom. And some of them came out so cool. This is like, I made 2 of these. These are the ones I made yesterday. This is the one in the demo. that I was showing you guys, but both of them got burnt. So to make like earrings, or you could, if you're making a necklace just like flat and nobody would see the back, that'd be fine. But I don't really want them to be burnt, so I'm going to show you guys a way so they don't get burnt. So I've got these little aluminum baking pans. These are for making bread. I was making a lot of bread a while ago, so I bought a lot of these. And mom or dad might have something like this in the kitchen. And what I'm going to do is basically make like a clamshell. So what you're going to do, before you cook your beads, you're going to take a piece of cardstock, like from mom or dad's office. You guys know what that is. It's like construction paper, but even thicker. And you make this accordion. And you do that by starting with this flat piece of paper. And then you fold it under, and then over, and then under, and then over. Like if you're making a fan. And that is going to keep your beads up above from directly touching the heat. Because what happened to my beads is I did put them in the oven for what it was recommended on the container. It said half an hour per 1/4 of an inch at 275. But I think ovens sometimes say they're not exactly as accurate as your knob might tell you that they're being. So I did exactly that. Put them in I put a timer on my phone. I put them in for half an hour at 275 directly on the baking sheet at the bottom of the oven. So that was where I first went wrong. You need to put the baking sheet or these aluminum pans or whatever you have where you can kind of put something on top of each other like that. Put them closer to the top of the oven so they're not getting heated right away and very quickly. So it's better to heat them at a lower temperature for longer than at a higher temperature for shorter. So putting them directly on the pan is kind of what burnt them, because I would have put them on aluminum foil, but I didn't have it, so we were just trying our best. The clear stuff is just a little bit more sensitive than the normal stuff too. So keep that in mind. And then to fix the problem of them burning, like I said, you're going to make one of these. You're going to put this inside your pan, and don't worry, it is not going to catch on fire. This is going to go into your oven. I'm going to try that thing yesterday where I tilted the camera down. All right, let's try that. Yeah, so I've got my pan, I've got my little paper, and I'm putting the beads on the paper like this. These are already baked, but this is just an example. So here they are, all lined up. And I also made some round beads. Let me see if I can. And these have a much smaller hole. So my plan for these is I'm gonna make some earrings. I'm gonna put some earring wire through them. So I made some matching ones. And I really love how these came out. So I'm gonna do more of these today. With my day after I do my chores, guys. So the reason, it's kind of hard to show you by tilting it forward, but if I put the beads flat on the bottom, A, they might burn, and B, they would start rolling around and it would be really hard to like keep track of them, and maybe they would cook unevenly. So this kind of keeps everything organized in your pan. It keeps them from touching each other too when they're baking, because the color of the alcohol inks can transfer from bead to bead if they're touching in the oven when they bake. If you're getting a specific color, that matters more. If you're just having fun, it doesn't matter that much, but it's just good to know. So then I take the other and I put it on top, and that's it. I put it in the oven like this, like I'm cooking a giant loaf of bread. And then my trick was to set my oven to 250 degrees instead of 275. And then I only cooked those for 20 minutes. So I went between 15 and 30-ish, because most of the sculpey is like 15 minutes per 1/4 inch. And then I will tell you that worked great when I took out my second batch after I was in such despair after my little burnt buddies. I did these guys, and they're attached to the lucite that I'm working on. This is a lucite, guys, and I can show you guys how to use it on a different video, but just so you can see the beads. These are the ones that I did yesterday in my second batch when I read a bunch of articles online about how not to burn them. So you can see that these aren't burnt and they're nice and hard and they're not squishy, so they're not undercooked or anything. They're just cooked to perfection. And then, like, again, I made more round beads and I really like how those came out. So this is kind of what I'm experimenting with. This will be like a bracelet, okay? But you guys can do something really similar to this. And I'm just going to take these off really quick. Okay. Yeah, so I just took that out. Just so I could use the string to show you. So I got a length of string. I folded it in half like this. And then if you guys have ever made those like lizards before, or like bead lizards, or bead snakes, kind of like weaving with beads, where you take a bead. So I'm gonna use this one because it's nice and big. This is one of my Bernie ones. But I've got the two ends. I've got my bead. Okay, I'm gonna put one end on one side of the bead. Then I'm gonna put my string through the other side of the bead. And then you're gonna pull it. Okay, so you've got that little thing on the bottom where we begin the chain. And then I'm gonna just keep going to show you guys an example of what you could do with these beads. So again, one string on one side. These are like big old lifesavers. They're really pretty, so I would love to see you guys experiment with these, because I would really love to kind of see what you came up with when we get back to LEAP, or whenever we see each other next, because there's so much detail in these that it's hard to see probably over my my computer's camera. So here's the second one, and I will just do one more just for fun. And I think that there are so many things that you can do with these beads. Probably there are things that you can think of that I am not thinking of. So I'm also curious about that. So feel free to comment if you've got any suggestions for your fellow leapers. All right, so here is a chain of 3, and you could just keep going and going and going. If you want, you could use this as like a necklace, and then just do a quick knot in the back. Or you could keep going and go all the way around your wrist, like you have kind of like a lifesaver candy bracelet. And then what's my other? Oh, those big ones, the big ones that I showed you, those pink ones. Oh, they were so pretty. All right, I'm going to have to let it go that I burnt them, because even if you burn them on your first try and it makes you kind of sad, it's all part of learning and getting it right. And just in making those, ooh, I should show you what I'm doing. Okay, so again, I have string. I put it, bent it in half mostly, so my two ends, yeah, it's kind of in half. But this time I'm starting with this loopy end, okay? So got the loop, right? I got my bead. I'm going to put the loop through my bead. Boop. All right. And then I'm going to pull the rest of my string through that loop. Oh my goodness. And that is a very simple way to do a pendant. So if you make a really big one or just like a really pretty one that you just want by itself, there you go. And then you can just tie your knot in the back. Super cool. And then if you're just ready to keep adding beads, you can, I'm grabbing some slightly bigger holes because the yarn that I'm using, I don't want to have to be here for like an hour being like, hey guys, watch me stick this yarn through this hole. Okay. So, I put that bead on this yarn like so, and I'm using the same strands so you can see like right here. So I put this, and I can like keep stacking them up. I could tie a knot. So let's tie a knot. I want to show you guys how to tie a knot because, to be honest, some of you guys don't know how to tie a knot, and it's very useful. So if you learn nothing else from this video, let's tie a knot together. Okay, here we go. So you're going to make a loop. Okay, we just made a loop, so I know you guys can do this. This string is behind this string. You're going to take your fingers and hold it. It looks like a 4. You're going to put it through and around. So this part that's behind here now goes in front. You're going to go through the loop and pull, but pull it while holding on to it because you don't want to accidentally close your knot. You want to be able to control where your knot lands, right? So now you've got the knot. I want it to be right up against the bead, so I'm just going to squeeze it really gently with my fingers, and boom, there's my knot. So now that's locked in there, and it's looking good. So now you have 2, so you can put a bead on either side, and I might pick a smaller bead now. This one is a little bit smaller. It's not the smallest, but just so you're having, like small bead. When you're making jewelry, you kind of want your biggest thing to be at the bottom, and that's called like a statement piece. So the most complicated thing will go like, is the thing you want to see the most. So if you're adding other beads as like a detail, you want them to be smaller, and you don't want them to distract from that beautiful design that you worked so hard on that hangs at the bottom, aka my sparkly pink bead. So, and these, these, I probably, if I was planning ahead, I would make some beads that were even smaller than these beads because these are still kind of big. But just imagine that they were a little bit smaller. And then I might do like more. So anyway, here we go. Like that is looking good. So I've got that big statement bead. I've got that little bead that I put flat on top. And then I put 2 beads on the sides. And in my head, they would probably be a lot smaller. But this is what I have to work with because I didn't really plan ahead. I was just making beads and experimenting. But just doing that will give you a sense of what you might want to do next in the future. So now, after I'm done with this video, I'm going to go make some smaller beads. So I think about that. I like it actually without the beads. So if you were watching what I was doing while I was talking, I took them off. So I'm actually going to, instead of putting them on the sides, because I felt like they were probably too big for this piece that we're working on right now, I'm going to try to poke them through. Here we go. Like that. And I'm just going to do another bead on top because I think that that's equally lovely. I'm going to do another knot. So here we go. Cross in the back. Make the 4. Cross in the back. Make it a 4. Bring it through the loop. And then pull it down. And voila! I think this is very lovely. So you can obviously use something besides yarn. If you have something in your house like leather or stretchy bead yarn or whatever works for you. But there we go. Right? Cool. Ooh. Cool. So I'm also going to show you guys how to tie the knot at the end. Okay, so it's going to be, I'm just going to show you. So you've got your ends right here. You're going to take your ends. You're going to give yourself a little bit of yarn. Maybe you'll hold them upright like this. So you're going to pinch and twist. Okay? And then you're going to put your ends through the hole. And we're going to do that again. Because this is another thing that you guys could spend some time learning. And then you can be totally independent knot tiers, which would be amazing. So we got my ends. We're going to twist. And then we're going to put the ends through the hole. We're going to do it one more time for fun. Ooh, all right. Here's my ends. Pinch, twist, end goes through the hole. Beautiful. So, I mean, this is too long. My neck is not that long. So I'm probably going to make it like this long. Remember, if you're going to tie a knot, you have to think about having enough for your neck to go through, or else it'll get stuck on your head. Yeah, so here we go. So twist, and then I'm going to put my ends through, and they're super long, just because I was using this as an example, but there we go. This is my hole for my head. And this can just go back there. I'll cut that off later. And there we go. Check it, guys. So, not only can you have a ton of fun just experimenting with different colors and different shapes and different size holes of beads, regardless of what you actually want to make with them, you can also just one by one string them up on a piece of string like this, because they're beautiful and don't need much extra razzmatazz going on, right? And if you make a bunch of them, right, you can just put these all on a string like that and just tie them. Just tie them. If you have the stretchy bead string, which is just called like stretchy bead string, and if you search that on Amazon, you can get something like that, and then it's easier to take on and off than having yarn, which is kind of inflexible. And then it would look like you had like a cool Smarties or I keep trying to say lightsaber. Lifesaver jewelry. And you could even think about making them like brighter rainbow colors. Mine are kind of earthier because that's what I do. You could make this jewelry, make beads, make the jewelry, and then you could make them little presents. So, one thing you could do since you probably can't see your friends as much as you'd like, which is a bummer, but there's lots of different ways for us to communicate. So one thing you could do is send a good old-fashioned letter with a care package. And so you could check in on your friends, see how they're doing, give them some ideas, tell them what you've been up to in the letter, but you could also send them some things that you've made. Like you could send them a necklace, or you could send them a bracelet, or you could just send them beads that you made and challenge them to create something, and then they can send it back to you if they want. They don't have to. Or you could make something matching. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this project. I would love to hear about your ideas or see the outcome if you guys decide to do it. In the meantime, keep staying busy, keep being creative, try something new, and I will be back with more things in the future. Bye, guys.